15 shocking facts and taboos in Zambia. Number 15. Ban on using U.S. dollars. While the rest of the world is becoming dollarized, from Dubai to Singapore, from Kenya to Cambodia, where the greenback is treated as the universal language of trade, Zambia is taking the opposite path. The country strictly bans the use of the U.S. dollar, and violators can face up to 10 years in prison. The Bank of Zambia argues that widespread use of the dollar has weakened its control over monetary policy, eroded confidence in the local currency, the kwacha, and threatened to collapse the economy from within. Yet here's the paradox. Over 80% of global trade, from oil and gold to electronics, still takes place in U.S. dollars. In Lusaka, if you buy a car, book a hotel room, or pay tuition in dollars, you won't just get fined, you could be arrested. The government's stance is clear. All domestic transactions must be conducted in kwacha, with no exceptions. In Tanzania or South Africa, you can exchange dollars right at the airport. But in Zambia, that simple act can be considered illegal. Tourists are required to exchange money only at specially licensed bank counters, or at customs booths marked with the rare sign Authorized Currency Exchange. A Canadian mining businessman once joked, "So do I have to pay my workers in potatoes now?" Because he couldn't use U.S. dollars for wages. Ironically, the kwacha that the government is trying to protect has lost more than 20% of its value in just 1 year and is now among the weakest currencies in the world. This isn't even the first time. Back in 2012, Zambia also banned the dollar, but had to reverse the policy when trade nearly came to a halt. Number 14. A dating show that pays you to marry a Zambian woman. Ready for Marriage. A TV show where you can win cash and even a free wedding if you marry a Zambian woman. Yes, you heard that right. The show airs on Movie TV, a popular private channel in Lusaka. Its original goal sounded noble: to help women who once worked in the adult industry rebuild their lives. Over 18 women from 9 provinces were selected, each with her own story of hardship and a dream for love and redemption. The shocker: the winner receives about $9,000 in cash, plus full wedding expenses. Even those who don't win get between $1,000 and $1,500 in new jobs to help them leave their past behind. Sounds like a great deal, doesn't it? No other country in the world has ever hosted such a bold show. In a nation where GDP per capita barely exceeds $1,000 a year, it's like hitting the jackpot. But the show sparked massive debate. Some call it an act of compassion. Others sneer, "Who would marry a woman with that kind of past?" on national TV. Yet many viewers were moved to tears by the genuine confessions and love stories between people society had once rejected. Zambian women are known for being warm, strong, and loyal. They can turn even a small hut into a true home. In a country where 68% of the population lives below the poverty line, the tenderness and resilience have become symbols of national pride. If you had the chance, would you join this show and marry a Zambian woman? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 13. Adult dolls are strictly forbidden. In recent years, adult dolls have become a global phenomenon. The market was valued at over $11 billion in 2024, growing more than 10% each year. In Japan, there are even love doll hotels. In China, factories produce more than 200,000 dolls annually for export to Europe and the U.S. And in the U.K., there are openly operating robot companionship bars. These products are no longer viewed as taboo, but are marketed as psychological therapy tools for the lonely. But amid this globalization of desire, one country stands firm and says no: Zambia. In this southern African nation, anyone caught buying, selling, or even possessing an adult doll can be arrested. According to police spokesperson Esther Katongo, these human-like dolls are classified as pornographic materials under Zambia's penal code. Smuggling, selling, or using them is a criminal offense, equivalent to possessing obscene films. Minister of Religious Affairs Godfrida Sumahili even warned, "Adult dolls are dangerously addictive, and Zambia will not tolerate such behavior." In this deeply Christian country, where over 90% of citizens follow Christianity, such acts are seen as moral corruption and an insult to traditional values. Number 12. You have to learn how to be a husband before you can get married. In Zambia, there's a special course you must pass before you're allowed to get married. And no, it's not a cooking or yoga class. It's a real 7-day husband training camp. Among the Bemba people, a man cannot marry until he completes a traditional rite known as Nsaka, where village elders teach him how to become a proper husband. From cooking and fetching water to maintaining harmony, respecting his wife, and treating others with dignity. Those who are lazy, disrespectful toward women, or unwilling to listen will have their weddings postponed until they change. There's no failing, but being sent back for retraining is definitely real. This tradition isn't small scale. According to Zambia's Traditional Culture Committee, more than 15,000 young Bemba men attend Nsaka classes every year in regions such as Kasama, Chinsali, and Porokoso, and the number keeps growing. The United Nations even recognized this practice in 2012 by including it on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage, calling it one of the few surviving traditional models of marital and sexual education in Africa. Interestingly, while Western countries teach marriage skills in classrooms or through podcasts, the Bemba teach them inside round huts in the middle of the village, beside a fire in the rhythm of tribal drums. There, the lesson, "Never let your wife go to bed in tears," has been passed down for generations. Serious, yet deeply human. Number 11. The only country in the world that permanently bans foreign land ownership. You can buy a house, build a villa, or open a resort. But own land in Zambia? Never. Zambia is one of the very few countries in the world, and almost the only one in Africa, that strictly bans foreigners from owning land permanently. Under the Land Act of 1995, all land in Zambia belongs to the state and the king. Even locals only have usage rights, not permanent ownership. For foreigners, the rules are even stricter. They can lease land for up to 99 years, after which the government may reclaim or renew it under certain conditions. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, a multinational corporation, or a Hollywood celebrity. You still have to pay rent to the Zambian government. Strange as it sounds, this policy protects Zambia from selling out its homeland, a problem that has cost many African countries millions of acres to foreign corporations. The government firmly declares the land belongs to Zambians. It's not for sale. Today, about 60% of Zambia's land is still managed by traditional chiefs. Even the government cannot interfere without local consent. Many investors from China, India, and Europe have tried to buy land permanently, but all had to sign long-term lease contracts instead. Number 10. Turning plastic and old tires into gasoline. While the world struggles with plastic waste and rising fuel prices, Zambia is quietly running a revolution, producing gasoline from plastic and old tires. Sounds like science fiction, but it's real. At the Central African Renewable Energy Corp in Lusaka, roughly 1.5 tons of plastic and rubber are recycled daily, yielding between 160 and 185 gallons of refined gasoline and diesel. That may sound small, but if scaled up, Zambia could produce up to 400 tons of diesel, 125 tons of gasoline, and 30 tons of LPG per day, covering 20 to 30% of the nation's fuel demand and saving hundreds of millions of dollars in imports each year. The process relies on pyrolysis technology, heating plastic and rubber in a sealed environment to break them down into hydrocarbon chains similar to crude oil. The only difference? What takes nature millions of years, Zambia does in just a few hours. The result? The once huge garbage dumps haunting Lusaka have become artificial oil fields, where every discarded tire can be reborn as energy. India, Japan, and the Netherlands have similar technology. But Zambia is the first African nation to turn plastic waste into fuel on an industrial scale. As one local engineer proudly said, "We're not just recycling garbage, we're distilling the future." Number 9. Polygamy is legal, but adultery is a crime. In Zambia, a man can legally marry 3 or even 4 wives. But if he dares to sleep with a 5th woman without marrying her, he can actually go to jail for adultery. This isn't a joke. It's the result of one of Africa's most unusual dual legal systems. Zambia recognizes 2 types of marriage, civil and traditional. Under civil law, marriage is strictly monogamous, one husband, one wife, just like in Western countries. But under customary law, polygamy is fully legal as long as the man has permission from his first wife and the village chief. In rural areas, many men still view multiple wives as a sign of power and blessing. More wives, more children, more fortune. The paradox, however, lies in the law itself. Adultery under civil marriage is considered a criminal offense under Article 67 of the Zambian Penal Code. Offenders can face 6 months to 2 years in prison or pay a fine, depending on the degree of marital insult. In one famous case in Lusaka, a man was convicted after his wife submitted Facebook messages as evidence. Only a handful of countries in the world still uphold similar laws, such as Pakistan and the Philippines, where adultery can still lead to imprisonment. In the U.S. or Europe, by contrast, it's seen as a moral issue, not a criminal one. Number 8. Africa's oldest refugee settlements are in Zambia. Amid a continent marked by conflict and displacement, one small country has achieved something extraordinary. Zambia is home to some of Africa's oldest refugee settlements. For more than half a century, this nation has welcomed hundreds of thousands of people who had nowhere else to go, from Angola, Rwanda, and Burundi to the Congo. Here, compassion isn't just a slogan, it's a way of life. Picture this. In the dry western plains of Zambia lies a city called Maheba, covering more than 270 square miles, larger than New York City. Further north is Mayukwayukwa, established back in 1966, just 2 years after Zambia gained independence. These aren't makeshift tent camps you see in news reports. They're thriving communities with markets, schools, cornfields, soccer fields, and even tiny barbershops in the middle of the savannah. Angolans sell food, Congolese fish in nearby rivers, and Rwandans teach trade skills to local youth. Together, they've built a small, self-sustaining economy, powered by hope from people who once lost everything. And Zambia hasn't stopped. When new conflict broke out in the Congo, the Matapala settlement was established, now hosting more than 80,000 people, making it the fastest-growing refugee resettlement in East Africa. Number 7. Women are banned from wearing short shorts. In a country where summer temperatures can soar above 95 degrees Fahrenheit, you'd think wearing shorts would be common sense. But in Zambia, something as simple as short shorts could actually get you in trouble. A controversial regulation prohibits women from wearing shorts shorter than about 5.5 inches above the knee. What sounds like a fashion issue is, in reality, a cultural battle between personal freedom and traditional values. Government officials and community leaders defend the rule, saying it helps preserve moral and cultural integrity, especially in conservative areas where elders still believe that clothing reflects a person's dignity. They fear that Western media, movies, and social networks are eroding African identity. However, critics, especially young women and human rights groups, see the rule as a backward step. Why should we measure our shorts in centimeters? One university student in Lusaka protested. We want the freedom to choose our clothes, not to be policed by society. In truth, Zambia isn't alone. Uganda, Malawi, and Sudan once had similar public morality laws. But the world has changed. In Paris or New York, shorts are a symbol of freedom. In Zambia, they've become a symbol of controversy. Number 6. Greeting without touching. In the Western world, a handshake is a gesture of politeness. But for the Kunda and Tumbuka, two major tribes in Zambia, a handshake without touching is the true symbol of respect. They simply cup their hands, clap softly a few times, and say mulabwanji, meaning hello, or mwakabwanji, used at any time of day. There's no physical contact, no hugging or kissing, yet it's full of grace and sincerity. When greeting relatives or respected elders, the gesture becomes even more elaborate. Zambians squat slightly while clapping and bowing to show humility and gratitude. In other cases, they place one hand on the chest and one on the stomach, bending their knees slightly, a silent way of saying, "I honor your presence." Surprising, isn't it? While the world still struggles with social distancing after the pandemic, Zambia has long practiced its own social distancing culture that's both respectful and elegant. Much like Japan's deep bow or Thailand's wide gesture, Zambians have their own body language, a blend of African tradition and communal warmth. Number 5. The only country in Africa with a backward walking festival. It may sound strange, but Zambia truly hosts Africa's only backward walking festival. Every year, when the Zambezi River swells during heavy rains, the Lozi people celebrate Kuomboka, one of the continent's grandest and oldest traditional ceremonies. In the Lozi language, Kuomboka means to get out of the water, and true to its name, the entire community sails upriver, symbolizing the retreat from death and the journey toward new life. The sight is unforgettable. Hundreds of brightly decorated boats glide in reverse, with rowers paddling backward while singing, drumming, and laughing across the water. At the center is the royal barge Nalikwanda, painted in black and white with a massive elephant emblem, carrying the Lozi king, Litunga, from his rainy season palace in Lealui to his dry season palace in Limalunga. The procession can last for hours as thousands of people cheer from the riverbanks. This backward ritual isn't superstition. It's a mythologized survival lesson. The Lozi believe rowing against the current represents the human will to overcome adversity, to resist the flow of fate, and to move towards safer ground. Number 4. Wigs as a symbol of status. In the capital city of Lusaka, there's a silent but powerful status symbol you can spot at first glance: the wig. More than just a beauty accessory, wigs in Zambia, especially those made of genuine hair imported from Brazil or India, are considered crowns of prestige. A high-quality wig can cost anywhere from $300 to $800, and some reach $1,200 if made from untreated virgin hair. With an average monthly income of around $200, many Zambian women spend an entire month's salary on their hair, and they wear it proudly. In markets like Kamwala and Kabwata, you'll find hundreds of shops selling Brazilian, Peruvian, or Indian Remy hair, brands considered the pinnacle of luxury. As one stylist in Lusaka said, "Here, a Gucci bag doesn't matter as much as Brazilian hair. If your hair shines, you're respected." This culture isn't unique to Zambia. In Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa, women also spend millions of dollars each year on wigs. But in Zambia, it goes beyond fashion. It's a declaration of social identity, a statement that says, "I choose how the world sees me." Number 3. The largest and second tallest waterfalls in Africa. If there's one image that makes the entire world think of Zambia, it's the majestic Victoria Falls. A natural wonder so powerful that locals call it Mosi Oa Tunya, meaning the smoke that thunders. As the Zambezi River plunges nearly 350 feet down a sheer cliff, it creates roaring white mist columns that rise more than 1,300 feet high, visible from over 12 miles away. Stretching about 1 mile wide, Victoria Falls is considered the largest waterfall in the world by total water flow and one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Every year, over 1 million visitors come not just to marvel, but to experience its adrenaline-filled attractions, like bungee jumping from a height of 360 feet, or swimming in the Devil's Pool, a natural basin right at the edge of the falls, where one wrong move could send you straight down into the raging waters below. But few people know that Zambia hides another breathtaking treasure: the Kalambo Falls in the north, near the Tanzanian border. Cascading from a height of about 770 feet, Kalambo is Africa's second tallest waterfall, after South Africa's Tugela Falls. Beyond its beauty, it's also Zambia's oldest archaeological site, where humans once lived and used fire more than 250,000 years ago. Number 2. The world's most unusual border. Can you imagine standing in one spot and seeing 5 countries at once? In southern Zambia, the mighty Zambezi River flows through a region where Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, and Angola converge. The focal point of this geographical oddity is known as the Kazungula Quadrupoint, where the Zambezi and Chobe rivers meet, marking the intersection of 4 nations: Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Namibia. It's a one-of-a-kind natural boundary unlike anywhere else on Earth. What makes it appear as a 5-country view to travelers is that just 60 miles north lies Angola, making the area a rare 5-nation crossroads within sight. The border between Zambia and Zimbabwe is further highlighted by the legendary Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, where tourists can literally walk across the Victoria Falls Bridge and say, "Good morning from Zambia. Good afternoon from Zimbabwe." Visitors often debate which side offers the better view, and that debate itself has become part of the fun. Number 1. The law that bans witchcraft. While scientists still debate whether witchcraft is real, Zambia has officially banned it for over 100 years. This peculiar law, known as the Witchcraft Act, was enacted in 1914 during British colonial rule, and it remains in force today. The law prohibits the use of charms, spells, or curses intended to harm others. Even rumors or accusations are punishable. According to the Act, simply accusing someone of being a witch without clear evidence can land you in prison for up to 2 years for spreading superstition and causing public alarm. And this isn't just ancient history, it still happens today. In September 2025, 2 citizens in northern Zambia were sentenced to prison for allegedly plotting to assassinate the president using witchcraft. They were accused of using mysterious powders and chants to weaken the leader's spirit. Zambia isn't the only country that once had such laws, but it's one of the few that still keeps them. In Kenya, Malawi, and Tanzania, similar laws have been repealed or reformed. In Zambia, however, the government argues that belief in witchcraft remains widespread, so the law helps prevent violence and social chaos. And that brings us to the end of our journey through 15 strange and forbidden facts about Zambia in today's travel documentary. Which of these surprised you the most? Or do you know any other stories about Zambia? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And tell us, which country should we explore next? Your idea might just inspire our next documentary. See you next time.